Hello everyone. Hello from Moscow, from Pyatinska Street, which is Zamoskvorechi district of Russian capital, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not Moscowite, so I can be wrong. Today is 24th of October. Now it's 12 o'clock Moscow time, middle of the day, and this is my first update for a day, walk and talk type of video, because I know many members of our community do like this type of updates, and I will try to make walk and talk videos at least once a week if I manage to do so. And well, there is quite few very interesting developments and news that I like to share with you in this update, and I will start with a short summary of the situation on a Ukrainian battlefield. Well, according to reports from Russian media and Russian language pages, there is no significant changes on any of the sectors of the front. It's still operational pause, although, of course, they are local scale skirmishes, constantly artillery duels, drone wars, and so on. It's usual stuff. When it comes to this local scale offensive operations, Russian side is quite active, as we all know, in the Donetsk and the sector of the front line, in the Seversk direction, also in Solidar direction. And by the way, last at least 2 weeks, Russian forces definitely managed to retake initiative from Ukrainian side on Zaporozhye and South Donetsk sectors of the front line, and nowadays it's Russian forces that are conducting these local scale offensives to improve current positions. And when it comes to Zaporozhye sector of the front line, Orehov, Bridgehead, I guess main task of Russian units there is to prepare ground for encirclement of Ukrainian grouping of forces. If they are not withdrawn from that area in next several days, maybe weeks. And by the way, yesterday some channels did report that possibly Ukrainian side will begin withdrawing its forces from Orehov beachhead, although on official media outlets I did not see any such information. It's just independent channels that are reporting about it. Let's see, next several days will probably give us some better understanding of situation. And when it comes to Kherson sector of the front line, there were reports that Ukrainian forces yet again did try to cross the Dnipro River and reinforce their small footholds on the left bank. But Russian military channels time after time are reporting that Russian forces are in full control of situation and nothing is happening in a direction that will endanger Russian defense lines, or can be called as a kind of breakthrough on part of Ukraine. And this is it. This is it really for a short summary. As I said, operational pause is holding, and I guess it will stay this way. It will stay this way until large-scale Russian offensive operation begins in the winter. I don't expect any large-scale operations during the autumn, because I cannot imagine how even possible big units to conduct massive operations with military equipment during the rainy season in Rasputitsa. But in the winter, of course, Russian side will become significantly active, and we will probably see some decisive moves from Russian armed forces. And before I continue with some other news, uh, I wanted to show you this street, by the way, but it's quite heavy traffic. Quite nice area of the Moscow, very popular, this street, Pyatnitskaya. Plenty of small shops, cafes, restaurants. A very popular place for among locals and the tourists. Okay, that's been said. I will continue from some other areas. And when it comes to additional news, first of all, breaking news for this morning, which is that Ukrainian armed forces try to conduct strike on Russian Black Sea fleet assets with the naval drones, according to reports in Russian media outlets. And latest what I read was that 3 Ukrainian maritime drones were destroyed. And during the day, in Sevastopol area, Russian forces will conduct some training exercises among military personnel, exactly because of this constant danger that Kiev regime will use maritime drones. But I guess Russian forces somewhat already are trained enough or prepared enough, because almost all attempts from Kiev regime to strike Russian side with maritime drones are failure. And also, by the way, you may find interesting this news. Media is reporting that yesterday afternoon, during his usual speech, so-called president of Ukraine, Clown Zelensky made not just statement, but basically almost demanded from Ukrainian military force to move forward on the front line 1 kilometer every single day, or at least 500 meters. So just imagine how out of touch with reality that clown really is, that Zelensky, that he is in full seriousness demanding from his decimated militaries to conduct offensive operations and regain control all over the front, at least for 500 meters every single day, or even kilometer. That's a state of modern Ukraine, by the way, and its leadership. Truly inadequate individuals are running and ruining that failed state, just to serve the Western masters, basically, and that's it. And well, next major topic is, of course, Middle East. And well, no significant changes on the ground at this point when it comes to this escalation between Israel and Palestine. According to media reports, Hamas did freed two more hostages, and same time Israel did open its, this border crossing between Egypt and Gaza, and few dozen trucks with humanitarian aid did enter Gaza Strip. But yet again, this is way less than minimal demands, minimal necessity for Gaza Strip to make sure that there is enough medical supply, fuel for hospitals, or water, drinking water. I don't really understand why Israeli government is acting this way and not allowing international community to send as much aid to Gaza residents as needed. But that's unfortunate reality that we are facing. And there is quite a few also interesting news when it comes to escalation in the Middle East, but I will continue with this news from some other areas so that simultaneously I will show you those areas of the city. So I want to show this area, by the way, this kind of trees here with lot of locks on them. I guess this is some kind of tradition here among youngsters. Quite similar stuff is happening just everywhere in every country. And let me give you a panoramic view of this area. This is not the Moscow River, by the way. This is channel. Moscow River is not far away from here. And well, when it comes to news, by the way, well, Biden did make statements about this escalation in Middle East once again, and he said that peace talks may begin or about ceasefire when Hamas will release all the hostages from captivity. I don't know how realistic that approach is or how workable, but at least Hamas did release two more hostages, which is definitely good news. And well, same time, Israeli Defense Ministry come out with statements that they are all ready now to conduct not just ground operation in Gaza against Hamas, but also sea and air operation. Well, yet again, a point of making such statements, I don't know, I don't get it, because similar statements are now made by Israeli leadership on daily basis, maybe to somehow justify this prolongation of or absence of ground operation and prolongation of this time period when Israeli army is supposed to get ready for such operation. And some media outlets even began to report that Washington is now demanding from Israeli government to postpone ground operation indefinitely, which I did find also unrealistic. After all, I don't think Israel or Netanyahu's government mobilized over 400,000 reservists, and US and some other NATO members states did send aircraft carriers, amphibious ships, additional air force and ground forces in the Middle East for nothing. Probably they have some plans, but they need some more time, I guess, to get ready for next for next stage of escalation, which will be possibly provocation of direct clashes between Hezbollah and Israel, and then maybe even against Iran. So that's a very serious danger if it will take place. Yesterday I was watching on Duran show discussion conversation of hosts of Duran show, Alex Christoforou and Alexander Mercouris, and they did also articulate this topic that there is a certain danger, certain risk that Western so-called elites will use this escalation in the Israel between Israel and Palestine to maybe provoke some bigger regional conflict. Well, we also discussed this topic on our channel, and well, it seems like at least for this point there is no good reasons or good indicators that something did change and Israeli government will go for de-escalation, or the Western elites for that matter. Dear friends, before I continue, let me go to some other place and I will continue from there. And to continue, also quite interesting news, dear friends, that Western media outlets and Russian ones also began to report that US military personnel, including high-ranking officers, already are in Israel and are participating in the planning of Israeli military operations. And if I'm not mistaken, even Kirby, official representative of White House, did comment on it, and he didn't exactly confirm that US military staff is actively participating in the planning of Israeli operations, but he did mention that US does has qualified and experienced militaries who can be useful in such operations, which is maybe not direct confirmation, but at least you know, gives us understanding that it's highly likely that US military personnel is already in Israel. And dear friends, probably all of you did notice that not just US, but also several other NATO member states are deploying their special forces in Middle East and also in the Cyprus. Cyprus is a kind of a jump point for NATO military personnel, because yesterday Alex Christoforou did mention that from Cyprus to Israel by air it's only about 20 minutes, half an hour. So it's a strategic, very strategically located Cyprus, and I guess NATO member states will definitely use this island for further military operations. And same time, while we don't have any optimistic news from Middle East at this point, and it's quite possible that something big is in planning by Washington, London, Tel Aviv. Same time, we did hear statements from Macron, president of France. Russian media didn't report about Macron for a while, but now he is back in Russian media, and according to reports that I see, Macron yet again stressed the importance of two-state solution, and he basically articulated that West Bank definitely deserves to be recognized by Israel, and two states. I guess Macron still believes in two-state solutions, although Israel itself is as far away from this possible agreement as possible. But at least, by the way, at least it's good that one of the leaders of Western states are saying something about peaceful solution of this ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and ongoing not just from for just last few weeks, but for 60 plus years, by the way. And dear friends, probably you already know that I'm now on the bank of the Moscow River. You can see there behind me monument of Peter the Great, and veterans of our community do know that I like to go for a walk on the bank of the river whenever I have opportunity. It's a very nice area here, very nice place. And by the way, I said many times before that Moscow is extremely friendly towards its residents and the guests of the capital, and in the city you may find dozens and dozens of very nice areas that were created and renovated especially for people to have a place to go for a walk or for rest, just to chill. And well, let me give you some panoramic view here. And basically entire banks, both sides of the banks of Moscow River, it's very nicely done, and full of such areas where you can go for a walk, have some rest. I know in US members of our community from US may not straight away understand what I mean by go for a walk, but here is a thing to go for a walk, you know, and have a chat, or just to relax. But anyway, let's go back to news, and the very important developments, by the way. This week Chinese foreign minister may visit US. Wang Yi, if I'm not mistaken, that's the name of Chinese minister. And this is oh, I can take a seat here for a minute. And I guess this is very important. This is very important because I'm quite sure Chinese foreign minister will have a talk with his US colleague, with Blinken, not just about some bilateral relations, but also about Middle East and this escalation between Israel and Palestine. And I'm quite sure Chinese foreign minister will deliver message to Blinken and to US leadership that China will not tolerate if US will try to escalate this situation further in the Middle East and to engulf entire region in the conflict, especially Persian Gulf. I'm quite sure there will be some very strong warnings because, as I said in my previous updates, for China, Persian Gulf especially is extremely important because it does receive millions and millions of barrels of oil and liquefied natural gas. Also, billions of cubic meters of liquefied natural gas from Middle East, from Persian Gulf kingdoms and the states. And Beijing will definitely not take lightly if US or UK or let's say these rulers of the Western world will try to destabilize in the entire region to cut off China from Middle Eastern oil and the gas fields. A very interesting development. Let's see if this visit will take place and what will be the outcome. I'm afraid if Western elites have made their mind and are determined to further escalate in the Middle East, in that case, risk that they will try to the risk that they will create pretext to attack Iran is very high. But yet again, at least China is trying to do something about it. China is trying to de-escalate. Let's see if it will work. And by the way, a few more news about some other topics. One from Hungary. Prime Minister of Hungary, Orban, did yet again criticize EU, and he said that EU reminds him Soviet Union, which was trying to suppress national identity of other states. I may argue with this component. I don't think USSR were suppressing national identity in any of the Soviet republics, at least. But Hungary had very difficult relationships with the USSR, and I'm quite sure Orban was talking about this uprising in '56, if I'm not mistaken, when Soviet forces used force to suppress protest movement, and it's quite understandable that many generations of Hungarians are still remembering this very painfully. And Orban himself also, he was arrested, if I'm not mistaken, during that uprising. I may be wrong with date, by the way, but probably we all know what am I talking about. So yes, I mean, Orban is not messing around with the EU's bureaucracy, and that's why I guess this Annalena, not Annalena, this Ursula, by the way, Ursula Tatters, Michel, Borrell, and rest of the company of Brussels bureaucrats are extremely angry on Hungary and critical of Hungary's current government. But anyway, let's continue. And one more news, dear friends, which is somewhat also about EU. Russian officials did make statements that several EU member states are still blocking ships with Russian cargo fertilizers, by the way, for countries in need. And we are talking about dozens and dozens of thousands of tons of fertilizers for countries in need that are blocked in Baltic states, in Denmark and the Netherlands until now, by the way. So that's once again prime example of hypocrisy on behalf of these so-called Western elites, when in one hand they are trying to pretend that they care about human lives, they care about people in need, but at the same time they still are not releasing fertilizers from European ports that are essential for countries in need to grow some crops and to have some food, basically. That's what it is. But yet again, we all know what kind of individuals these so-called Western elites are, and I don't think they will change in any ways, ever. Only chance is citizens of Western states to wake up, vast majority, to wake up and make changes, to create some new elite that will be truly decent and noble. But these ones right now, it's just a shame for Europe, in my understanding. This Scholz, Macron, Sunak, you name it, by the way. Western world, Biden, for example, or Trudeau. Western world is full of this type of individuals in the so-called elite. Oh. Anyway, this is it. This is it for now. Hopefully, you will find this update interesting. Well, news element of this update is finished, but while we are in Moscow, of course, I mean, me and my wife, we will try to make some videos in the city, and I will add those videos to this update. I hope you will find this interesting, and if so, please click that like button, leave some commentary about any topic you like. It's a great support for to me and the channel, these likes and comments, because I guess it does have some influence on YouTube's algorithm and increases my chances to reach wider audience. And for very same reason, dear friends, if you can, please share links to my videos with your friends on any of the platforms that you are active on. Dear friends, let me show you entrance to. This is not the main entrance into Gorky Park, but one of the entrances. And if you think this project with several channels on YouTube, Rumble, and Telegram are interesting, informative, useful, and has some potential or deserves to exist, please consider to support my work with small donations through PayPal, buy me a coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You can see links under this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.
Уважаемые посетители парка, правый дворник арки главного входа, а также на территории центрального фонтана Располагается сувенирный